Susan Bradford. You are the force behind our Woven Together in Pandemia project, our bi-monthly Zoom meetings with members of the San Juan County Textile Guild. During the 4 meetings we've had so far, you've encouraged us to share more than our work, to also share our personal feelings and experiences as fiber artists during the coronavirus pandemic. How has sharing in this way affected you over the past 2 months?
More than I actually even thought it would. It's pretty amazing to me that each meeting seems to build on the next, and as people share, they become a mirror for me, and my own feelings get more clear to me. And I go, oh yeah, I wish I had said that. So, which doesn't matter as long as I hear it and take it in. And so yeah, it's been very profound. It's also been a really good way to get to know Guild members so much better than I ever had, especially for me not living on San Juan, where most of the activity for the Guild is centered. So it's great. It's great. It's exceeded my expectations enormously.
And I understand we're going to keep it going.
And we're going to keep it going.
That's
yep.
Great. That's
absolutely.
Great. That's great.
It is. Good for us.
Good for us. Okay. I know that your primary fiber arts interest is in basket making, and that you've made a series of small baskets and related paintings based on words that came to mind when you started thinking about the coronavirus and its effects on you. It's such an intriguing concept to me to have made paintings that have an opposite meaning from your baskets. And what I'd like to know is, did making the 2 opposite pieces affect how you are experiencing the pandemic? And you can show your pictures now if you want.
I will. So this is one of them. The paintings are very small, as are the baskets.
Like, how big is that painting?
It's a 2.5 by 2.5.
Okay.
So pretty small. And
yeah,
you can see that the basket is considerably smaller than that. It actually might not be quite square. It might be 3 by 2.5 as I look at it. So I have worked with words in my artwork, in my 2-dimensional work. I've been working with words forever. And I've also, over the years, created 3 different decks of cards that are associated with a word. So this comes pretty naturally to me. But to be honest, in this time, I felt like I needed not to just express the positive word. I needed to also express whatever the opposite is to me. And sometimes the opposites are pretty obvious, but sometimes they're not. Sometimes they don't reflect an exact opposite according to, you know, a classic meaning of the word. So this is sad and joyful.
So which one is joyful?
Well, you know, that's a good question. It started off, and here's the other thing. Now, you yourself introduced the project of creating amulets to us who have been going to these meetings, and I took that to heart. And so instead of creating an amulet that is a small item that you wear, the baskets are stand-ins for amulets, meaning that there are objects that have spiritual and healing powers. So that's my interpretation of it, at least. Mm-hmm. So the baskets started off as being the more negative words because they were vessels that could enclose the negativity and kind of keep it from spreading in a way. And then the paintings were the expression of the joy.
So the
And
basket,
now I'm, well, this is sad and joyful.
yeah, so the basket started out as being
I'm
sad and the painting is joyful. Is that right?
right.
Okay.
Yes, but now I'm not really sure anymore.
Ah,
I don't really know whether they are switched or whether the title of both of them is sad joyful.
oh,
So
yeah.
so I have to ponder that. That's definitely up in the air, but they are definitely engaging to me, and I'm going to keep doing them.
Okay,
And
let's see another pair.
okay. Um, all right. Well, that's all right. So here's another pair. So this one is little and powerful. And there should be a close-up. Yeah, there's a close-up of the basket.
Boy, I can see little and powerful in that little basket. Both.
That's great.
That's
That's
cool.
great.
Yeah.
And this one is fearful and trusting.
Oh my.
So there should be a close-up of that one too. One of the things that's been most fun is just picking up little scraps of material that I have lying around and using them for these small baskets, and just seeing what happens. I have a bag, a plastic bag full of material that I've been kind of carting around for years that has little snippets of this and little snippets of that, and I'm just using them up.
Cool.
So this is ephemeral and eternal. And when you see the basket, you can see that ephemeral quality of the winding around, and yet the openness of it. And at the same time, of course, the circle is eternal. So actually, it's so interesting. That's why I love this whole process, because I think as we are talking, I am pretty sure that the title of both of them is both. That as one piece they are ephemeral and eternal. And
So you have ephemeral and eternal 1 and ephemeral and eternal 2.
exactly.
Wow, I really like that. And it really makes sense too.
It does, because one of the things on a spiritual level that I keep working on in my own personal life is the idea of duality and non-duality. And so I really try to be as non-dual as possible. So not judging good, bad, happy, sad. It's all fine. It's just what it is. And this certainly in this time period, it's given me lots of time to be introspective. So that's good. I'm always happy for that. So this one is fragile and stable. And this is just grass. I was just sitting outside one day and talking to a friend on the phone, and the dandelions had gotten high and the grass had gotten high, and so I just kind of took a handful of them, and while I was talking to my friend, I just started playing around. So
Amazing.
and I didn't take a close-up of that one. And the same with this one that is vulnerable and secure. So, and you probably don't recall, but when you first introduced this at our meeting, you said, just write down 2 or 3 words of how you're feeling right now. And so vulnerable was the first thing that came to my mind, and that wasn't the very first nest, but it definitely was in that first group. So one of the things about these is that I consider them all nests, and this is what I think of as my spring nest, which has the eggs. So this is seagrass and fur yarn, and also just regular yarn. So this is the first egg, which has the embryo fully enclosed in it. And then this is the second one where it's becoming more open. And this is the third. So this is the open shell and what is inside of it. So that became really a spring point for me to think about seasons. And seasons are something that I really like to work with. So my plan, my long range plan, is to do a basket for every season in the season that's happening. So if we skip,
Oh, so it's not seasons of the year, but seasons within the pandemic. Is that
no,
what
it's
you're saying?
seasons within the year. So this was spring, and it really, I finished it just about at the time of the solstice. And then, sorry, these are out of order.
But I like getting a glance at them again. That's nice.
Yeah, good. These are actually the two newest small ones that don't have paintings yet, and they don't have names yet. So they will. And you can't really tell, but that's a ball of black yarn, just kind of fades into the thing. So this is the summer nest, and it's not done. So it doesn't have its eggs yet, and I'm not sure what's going to happen on the outside of it, but I am thinking that I have to start playing with enclosing it somehow in some kind of random weave wire. So, and the coils on the top, which look a little decorative to me now, but they were actually supposed to represent the idea of barbed wire. So being kept in, the idea of not having a choice about whether you're in or out, and being okay with it, but still that idea that we are, that things are happening beyond our control. So that's this one. And then fall and winter will come when they do.
So
I
let me
don't
interrupt.
anticipate. Yeah.
Let me interrupt you just for a second and ask
Sure.
you if in your mind these two, the spring and summer baskets, are how do they relate to the coronavirus, to our experience of the pandemic, or your experience of the pandemic?
Right. Spring is the time for reawakening and for blossoming and for coming out of our nests, for coming, for hatching our eggs. And so this year it became just symbolic, since obviously I am not going anywhere and I am nesting. So I have been pretty much home for all these months, except for going to buy food every once in a while. I try to do it about every 10 days. And I'm blessed that I can go outside and be in my garden and enjoy the world. But yeah, I've been pretty much home. So I'm nesting, and it's a reflection of that. So summer feels that idea of the prison, or being imprisoned in a metaphorical sense, is that summer is the time where our spirits should soar, and we should be out and about. We should be filled with joy. These are warm colors, they're vibrant colors, and yet my energy is not necessarily warm, and my feelings are not necessarily vibrant at this moment. They come and go. I have amazing energetic days, and then I have days where I just don't want to do anything at all. So I don't understand why one day could be so different than the next, but it just seems to be, and I'm just kind of accepting that.
Let's unless you want to say something more about this basket or any of these pictures, how about if we go back to looking at you?
Yeah, that's fine.
I have another question for you.
Okay.
Okay. Hello again.
Hi.
I would like to know, if you can, kind of think about what participating in Woven Together how that's influenced this work, all these pieces,
Mhm.
and what do you think might have been uh, your how do you think it would have been if we hadn't have done this for you
Ooh,
in terms of the work?
yeah, yeah, I can't even imagine. I'm so thankful that we are doing it. Um, you know, I still consider myself primarily a two-dimensional artist,
Mhm.
and I've been
Like
painting a
the paintings behind you are
yes, although
yours.
those are older, but
Okay,
yes, like that.
all right.
um, uh, and and I have always in life painted in a series. I've never had just. I know some people put one painting up and they work on it and then they work on it until it's done and then they go on to the next one. That has never been my style. I have always had drawings and paintings and numerous things going on. And then when I started making baskets about 12 years ago, that kind of added into the mix. But with baskets, usually it would be more like there would be one at a time. And then I would finish it and then I would move on to the next. And the baskets were very creative to me. After a certain time, I stopped using patterns from other people and just started making my own things up. Um, but they were more about design and more about materials. With these meetings and with the pandemic, I finally feel like I'm more connected to my baskets in a way that is much more conceptual and 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 is pleasing me. So yes, there are days that I just look at it all and I go, I do not have the energy to make one coil today, but I look at it and I think about it and I write about it and I and I'm creative in that way on those days. So it's been a real boost. And I know that the meetings have stimulated that enormously. So I feel like I'm in a new um, and on a new level with the basketry that I've been kind of in my heart searching for a long time. Like, how do I get into this in a new way? And so it's very exciting to me, and I'm really excited to see where it will go.
Well,
Not with any goals in sight. The other thing about me is that I usually need stimulation to work. I need a show to work for. I need to have a deadline. I need to get something finished for something, and and since that's not happening, it's all this in the motivation is so much more inner and so much more exciting to work
wow,
that way.
wow.
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you, I love that. That's so cool to hear that. But can you put your finger on one or two points about the meetings that um, had an effect on this change?
I think hearing that everyone was going through something, even if what we're going through is different, everybody had a story
Mhm.
and has a story, and it's an ongoing story, and we keep writing all the chapters in it, and and so it became easier for me to look at my own story and make sense out of my own story and how this all fits in with it.
That's so cool. I love it.
Yeah. And
Um,
our members are fabulous. I mean, there's just, oh my God, just so many wonderful, creative people.
yeah. Well, our time is almost up here, but just for anybody who's interested in the more technical side of it, do you want to tell how those little paintings, the material for those little paintings?
Oh yeah, it's alcohol ink. So wonderfully enough, the last moment that I was really out in the world was the beginning of March, and we did a workshop on San Juan, and we had a lovely woman, Ann Dove, come and teach this class, and then the pandemic hit, and I was like so fired up to be doing more of these paintings. I loved it. It's a totally new medium for me, and then they sat and they sat and they sat, and I looked at them and I looked at them and I looked at them. And I wasn't really doing much painting at all. I mean, I was doing a little bit of basketry all along, but really no painting. So then with the amulets and the idea of the words came the idea to make the little paintings. So it is getting me back into painting. And what I'm finding is that, you know, there's a lot I don't remember because it was a one-day class, and it's been 4 months. So I have a lot to relearn and learn, but it's really exciting work. I love the alcoholing.
Cool. And a lot of experimentation.
It's so much experimentation and so easy to just kind of play. It's very playful.
So, okay, thank you, Susan. And to
Thank you,
end
Rob.
this interview, I'd like to share screen one more time, go to one of the pairs of the little basket and the painting, and just say the names of them, and we'll pause for a second and listen to them and listen to the names, and then we'll stop recording and end the meeting. Well,
Okay.
we'll stop recording at any rate.
Okay. All right. So this is sad and joyful. This is little and powerful. This is fearful and trusting. This is ephemeral, eternal. This is fragile and stable, and vulnerable and secure.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Robin.
I love your work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That is an honor.